how's it going, everyone? I'm here to show you how to make like a basic environment for pretty much any game. I'll just show you the tools and you guys can get creative with it and mess around with it. This is my first time making a tutorial too, so I'm gonna wing it. This is Unity Hub, by the way. I recommend you get it. It helps you arrange all your different versions of Unity. For those of you who know why, it's always best to use the newer version, although they come out with like a new one every couple months. Okay, let's just create a new one. 3D, doesn't matter what you name it, it's up to you. Make sure you know where it's going so that you can look into the file itself if you ever need to create a build or import some assets without going into Unity. Create a 3D one. There we go. So right now we don't have anything going on here. Let's set ourselves up. Ooh. The reason why my camera's going pretty fast is because usually I change this. Yeah, see, I keep it at a max of 6 and around 3/4 to a half of the way. It's good for when you're building terrains, that way you can move around really quickly. Let me show you how big a terrain can get. Is it 3D objects? Yeah. It's like this big. And a fast camera just lets you move around really quickly. Alrighty. So we have our terrain. What we need are textures. We're gonna put one for grass, maybe a rock one too, just to show that you can kind of make like a cliff and make it look prettier. But we got everything from the asset store right here, this tab. And hopefully this doesn't take too long to load. I think it was called standard assets. Yeah, there it is. Come on. Import. I already have it downloaded, so I just have to import it into this project. But you're gonna want to hit that button. It's free, so there's no reason why not to get it. Just make sure everything's checked. And then import. Here's everything. Go back to our scene. We have our terrain. This is where it's gonna pop up unless you move it. You can also name it whatever you want. Just double click there, I think. Or rename. Yeah. Either works. Or you can also name it. Where is it? Can you name it here? Guess not. Never mind. Oh, right here. Nope, that's just referring to this. Okay. Anyways, standard assets. We're gonna need our environment assets. We will use trees, but let's start with the textures. Surface textures. Okay, we'll just have that open so we can refer to that later. This is your main tool to change the terrain. This is my favorite brush though. It's a lot smoother than the basic one. Let me show you what it does. Left click will raise it. You can click, keep on clicking, or just hold it and drag. See, look, it already looks pretty crazy. But I like this because it gives you some really nice round hills. Let's make the brush a little bigger. And ideally you want to stand to where your player's gonna be. So let's say we're here in the center, right? So we want to raise all this just to let them know where they can and can't go. I keep click dragging. If you need more of a bird's eye view, go up top and then just make these big mountains. Let's change the opacity. This just increases like the strength of the brush. Maybe even increase the size. Yeah, there we go. Big hills. We're gonna keep our player in a big valley. Alrighty, bring that back down. Just add some texture to this really quickly. You guys can obviously go into more detail with it. Speaking of texture and detail, what these other brushes are good for, like, see that? Click and drag, you can make some sharp edges. Let me show you this one tool. Instead of just raising and lowering, you can set the height. Let's say we want this at 50. And we'll use this one just because I'm going to demonstrate something later. And ooh, 50 is a little too big. Let's do 30. What's that? Okay, there we go. So this looks like a big mountain. Just make it a little circular. Maybe it can be a path where our player's gonna walk. Again, you guys can get creative with all this. And we can smooth the height. We'll just even it out a little bit. Make it a little nicer. And that will serve a purpose later. Alrighty. And now that we have our basic scene set, we can try to paint it, right? Because we don't want all this white here. So we will change this brush to paint texture. The way this works is you add layers. So you create a layer first. Yeah, it's a little unintuitive, but create the layer first. And this is searching for the textures that we have here. So just type down whatever you have. Let's start with grass. It's a good basic one. Double click. Voila, everything looks green. I'll show you how to fix this tiling later. But we don't want just grass. We also want to show these like rock forms here. So we'll put the cliff. Just add another layer on top of that. Search up cliff, double click. And for this one, we're gonna have to select. It's selected when it's blue down here. You can go down here and we'll try to paint the sides of these. Let's go at a low opacity so we just know what we're doing. And see how that's tiling. We'll fix that later too. Just try to get everything painted. I'm just gonna do it really roughly. You guys can practice, get creative. But ideally you want, here, let me change this one because it'll be easier to see. That's 10. You're changing it, the size and the axis. Yeah, it's a little better. See, that's already looking better. And you can have more like in between here. You can add some grass rock texture, but we're not gonna do that right now. Sorry, it's just I see this and I really want to paint it, but you guys know what that does. If we wanted to, we can just keep adding more layers onto here, but ideally you want to keep it between like 3 to 4. You don't want too many because you will add like trees, these details. Let's see, I think they have a conifer. Yeah, I only know this because I've used this before. Then you just click add. That way you have a tree. The way this works is you have this big brush size. Let me just show you what it does. Look at that, so many trees. But you're never gonna need that many trees in one spot, unless you make a game that you do. But let's put the density as low as possible, the brush size as low as possible, and here we have more control. Just every click you have a tree, right? And the only time that I like use more than one tree is when I'm like trying to cover like the background. you know, so your player knows that that's just for it to look good. And as far as placing them, you really want to place them in a way that your player can like travel through them, you know? If you have some sort of arrangement like this, you know that they're gonna go right in between. But if you're trying to get them through here, you don't want this, right? Because the collision boxes are just gonna be annoying and they won't be able to go through. Maybe they will in some parts, but it depends on what kind of game you're making. Other than trees, let's see. You can add rocks and bushes and grass mainly. I think we have grass here. Let's find some grass. Ah, there it is. And this is the same thing with trees. Oh, sorry, I forgot to add it. Oh yeah, you could change the height with noise spread and the color of it if you're going for something, you know, more dry or something more healthy. You really want to match it to the color of your scene, but let's just stick with that. So that's what it looks like with a full brush. Oh, sorry, I keep deselecting that. So let's make the brush size smaller. Actually, let me show you a good trick. Let's put the opacity less strength. That's what that looks like, right? Now, if we can use one of these, it'll make the grass like patchy. Yeah, it's like only appearing in some parts. That's usually a little more natural than just a big circle. Although sometimes it is fun to do that. Maybe hide an item in there. And this way you can make like a forest scene look a little more lively. And you can even have other textures, like let's say this grass rock here, just to have a little path. And those are the basics, but let me show you what you can do with water. Okay. Where is it? Water, basic, prefab. Yes. Oh, that is tiny. Let's just fix that. Ooh. Just drag to the size that you need. Put it where you need it. And voila, you have water. It just makes everything look prettier. Textures will help. If you want see-through water, I think they have some that are like that. Nope, not that one. Water prefabs. What is this? Okay, I think that's supposed to be see-through, but don't worry about it. The last thing that I can show you would be, you see how Unity comes with like a basic skybox? There's a sun up there, it's daytime. Let's try to change that, because this doesn't work for like a horror scene. If I remember how to do this. I think we go into window. It'd be a light. There we go. Light settings. Yeah, Unity changes every now and then. That's why it takes me a while to find these buttons. So there's the skybox. You want that selected, and if you have a specific one, you can pick. For example, this one can be for the night. Ideally, you want one with like stars, though. Unless you want fog, and fog. You can actually create fog here. There it is. You just have that selected. Look at that. It's already spookier. But fog isn't really bright during the night. It is a little bit, but not completely. Let's change that color. Come on. Well, I want to change. All right. Make it really dark. Almost blue. Because the moon just gives it like that kind of feeling. The dark. Yeah, that's fine. But again, you want to match it to the rest of your scene. And you can mess with this stuff if you have a halo texture. Let's see if they do. No, they don't. Oh well. You can make those textures. Then you can change the density, like if you really want it a thick fog, like you can barely see in front of you. It's hard to do. Yeah, let's do this. Much better control. About 5, see? Just a little thicker. And as you walk, you'll reveal more, but it always keeps that same distance. And that's pretty much how you make a standard environment. You can customize more with, you know, custom models, custom textures. And get really creative with it. So, have fun. Thanks for watching.